It's a new world, guys. It's a new world. Welcome to day 197 and Telling the YouTube Millionaire. The expression and the exercise of every aspect of love, romantic and otherwise, has expanded significantly in this year, AD 2025. I want you to play with these ideas with me. The first one, imagine an era in history where you and I both live 5,000 years. Like Lazarus Long in the book Time Enough for Love by Robert Heinlein. Imagine that. And it still only takes 20 to 30 years to rear and raise children in the safe umbrella of marriage between a man and a woman. That leaves 4,980 years of your life outside of that point. Now, when you've bonded flesh to flesh with another human being or another person that you love, that's a bond that lasts forever. You love them and you are fully connected, right? But is it something that you would maintain as an exclusive contract between the two of you for 5,000 years? Or is the true expression of your love, and there are other gradations in between this, I'm simply putting this out there as kind of a bimodal perspective on it, right? Or the true expression of your love is that you want them to be happy and to get what they want out of life and to express their love towards other people in the same way. You're still married to them. You're still connected to them. Always will be. They're part of your family. But the doors have opened for more. We already are starting to live in a system like that. Though we're forcing it. We're trying to, I guess the word is rush it. We're trying to rush it. We do live longer than we ever have in human history. Back in the Middle Ages, the life expectancy of a person was about 40, right? And now it's around 80. So we're already there, where we have at least two of those generational 20-year sections of our lives where we can bring up and raise children. And this is true whether you're a male or a female. Females have a much shorter time span that they can have children and raise a family than men do. But they still do have more than one. That's going to only get more profound as time goes on. All other factors being equal, we're going to live longer, more and more, as the years go by. There was an article written back in 2017 in Psychology Today that said that millennials, people in their 30s today, back in 2017, could expect to have a life expectancy of 115. That is an entire extra generation, maybe two, in those people's lives. Two more, yet again, life periods in which they may bring up, raise children. There's also, at least some aspect of that you could do all that with one person if you'd like, or many. But it is very challenging for us when we are fully chemically, emotionally bonded to one another to allow for flexibility. Even when you already have it set up in your contract prior, it's still difficult. It's still difficult because we're going against our very genetic makeup and our nature. But this goes even farther than that. I'm not simply talking just about living super long lives and not wanting to eat the same bologna sandwich over and over again, right? Which, by the way, is also going to lead to us, if we want to fully express our love towards one another, to continually taking care of ourselves entirely for our whole lives, so that we both get as much juice out of the squeeze as possible between one another and between others. It's an augmentation of the competition, if you will. This goes both ways, both with men and women. And there will be, I'm sure, within the next few generations, some technology in the medical field that allows for women to have a longer period of time that they can have children safely. So instead of having a geriatric pregnancy, by definition being a woman who's 35 years old or older, it could be 45 or 55. And they could have children all the way up until they're 75. I'm certain that within the next decades, there will be technologies in the medical field that allow for that to happen. A lot of it is chemical balances, so women, when they're fully sexually capable, have about 200,000 eggs. And they, through all their ovulations of their 20-year period, usually 40-year period where they're having menstruation and all that, to talk about this stuff just because, it's what we do, they usually only emit, quote unquote, like a few thousand, right? A few thousand of those 200,000 eggs that they have. The rest of them are completely wasted. So, if you could extend the period that they can have children, then you can use more of those ova, right? They can have more children, if this is something that they want. But that is only one aspect. There's also this one. How will love evolve when there are other species that are fully conscious people with agency, just as ourselves, and whether they want to use some type of spiritual or physical technology to allow for genetic melding of the two species to make viable offspring, or something else. Maybe they just want to be with one another, I don't know. How would that happen? Now, again, we're trying to rush it with this whole furry phenomenon that's been happening in the modern era. But I'm telling you, if you can imagine it now, there will be a period in the not-so-distant future, maybe only a few hundred years, where there are other animals on this planet that perhaps we have genetically produced, right, with our technologies and stuff, that are just as intelligent as us and have full agency, full capability to make their own choices, and perhaps have roughly similar lifespans to us, and a variety of other factors that completely eliminate the separation. Again, we are exactly what God made us to be, the stewards of the rest of the world, the very first, His first children, to lead to such things. But if you can imagine it now, there will come a time in the future where it happens. And Robert Heinlein, again, he broaches this topic at least a little bit in Starship Troopers, where there's a genetically modified dog, a genetically modified canine, that is about as intelligent as a human moron. About an IQ of 60, right? Which is good enough. Now, obviously, they will be much more intelligent than that, with more generations passing, right? more evolution of it, more of our work being put into it. So that's another aspect of it. Here's another one, and this is why Jesus tells us that if you've even thought of indecent thoughts of another woman that isn't your wife, you've committed adultery. There will come a time in the future where we have full-fledged, full-blown telepathy, where we don't need any abstraction, no technology. It's just our minds to minds. Through focused, conscious intent, we can think to one another. I guarantee you, every single adult in this world, I guarantee you, even going so far as to talk about Billy Graham, one of the most devout, best people this world's ever produced, modern era, has had indecent thoughts. I guarantee you. At least one or two. It's not that it's intentional, it just kind of happens. You know? When you can just see and feel what other people are thinking, and you gotta understand, when there's a marriage between a man and a woman, if there's telepathy and you can block off thoughts from your significant other, they're gonna be very concerned if you're blocking off certain thoughts from them. And it's gonna be piercing that question veil. It's like, all right, do you trust me as your spouse? Are you gonna let me hear this? Are you gonna let me see what you're thinking? And goes vice versa. So I tell you, if you even have them, whether you tell people or show people, your wife or otherwise, that they are there, the trust factor is going to lead you to eventually showing it. It's going to happen. In heaven, there is no marriage, because we are all married to one another. And I was thinking more on this, and I played with it in my head as to why these people that seemed to know a little bit more about the situation than I did at the time would make it very clear that they would tell me that they loved me, like my friend back in the Air Force. But they would not say they were in love with me. There was a critical point there. In love means that you are consumed by it. You want it only for you, selfishly. Just yours. But they would make a critical differentiation where they would say they love you. Not that they're in love with you. Because if you're in love with them, they are solely yours. What if everybody is solely everybody's? There's another book that I read a really long time ago, about 10 years ago, called The Island by Aldous Huxley, where he plays with this idea of polyamorous relationships and basically free love in a much different way. But at the same time not, because it was melded with a lot of the concepts of the 60s and 70s of the free love era, right, in the world, like the hippie era. And unfortunately, there was a lot of socialism and communism that fell into that. Now, again, in a world where we have perfect communication, mind to mind, heart to heart, telepathy, and there's no barrier, there really isn't a need for governments. And if there's no need for governments, then just as I explained with the Dunbar's number, 150 to 300 people is the max people that we can have in a community and know one another personally. It's kind of a global phenomenon in that regard. It adjusts the Dunbar number to be the whole of the world, or whoever is in your life if you've met somebody even once, then they're part of your community. And perhaps you don't even need to meet them. Through frequency entrainment, quantum entanglement, we're all infinitely, perfectly, immediately connected with one another, whether you're on the opposite side of the planet or directly in front of somebody else. We're already kind of getting to that with things like this video that's going to reach people all the way over in Japan or in Russia, halfway across the globe. So it is our nature, especially when we can't hear each other's thoughts, to be covetous. And I think that is the differentiation between being in love and loving somebody. Now, there are going to be people out there that are going to argue with me on this, and I want that, because I'm broaching topics in a different way that only a handful of people have tried to do in the past, because a lot of it's taboo. And these aren't things that I necessarily want to do or talk about, but, this is the era in which we live. This is kind of what came out of me from all the crucible, the baptism by fire that I endured from my past. Maybe it corrupted me. Maybe it brought me to a less ephemeral perspective. I don't know. I leave that up to you guys to decide. But let me know what you think about it. I know I have a lot of faithful Christians that listen to me and follow me on this channel. I myself am one. And I am not somebody who's ever delved into these things myself. I've only talked about them. And I think it's because I needed to figure it out before I could really do anything. I ask God every day, what's the right path for me? What do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do? You've made this particularly difficult. I'm not mad about that. It just means you have a different purpose for me. But what is it precisely that you want me to do? Do you want me to talk about this? Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to not do it? Is it just for suffering? Which I've talked about again in my previous videos, that my life is meant to be for suffering, at least up to a point. At least up to a period of time, I'm sure. So what's the answer? It's not just the ephemerality of us going away. It's also telepathy. And it's also other species being brought up to be just as intelligent as us with agency. And there are many other factors involved as well. But those are the three that I principally bring up at this moment. Let me know what you think, guys. It will happen. Those things that I said will happen. So we need to think about this stuff now. Love y'all. Brings new richness to me saying that, doesn't it?